Previously on BMT Storytime.
When I finally went on base lib, I made it a point to eat absolutely everything my heart desired that day. I was like, okay, you know, it's just a cough, whatever, you know, I'll get better. But no, that's not how my life works, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this YouTube channel. This was the week that a lot of people started breaking up with their significant others back. So it's funny that I said that because it just so happened that at the end of week 5, I was like 1 out of 5 people that got chosen to be an element leader for Beast, which in this case they're called Beast leaders. But I accepted the position, and it's so funny how things work. And I say that because, like, low-key, I'm still kind of hot about the situation. What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by that title, I'm going to be talking about BMT week 6, and I first off want to talk about the fact that we got our second base lib during this week. So you guys already know I had to go ham on the second base lib, so I just want to go ahead and give you guys a rundown again of everything that I ate. 2 slices of supreme pizza, a brownie sundae with cookie dough ice cream, 2 scoops, another Flintstones push-up ice cream, gummy bears, sour gummy worms, a big red soda, and a root beer. Again, I ate all of this in one sitting. Also, during 6 week, you will be taking your EOC and your last PT test. I ended up getting an 88 on the EOC and like an 86 on my PT test, which I'm pretty proud of. Oh, and I forgot to mention, actually one of my subscribers mentioned this in the last video. They asked me what I did with my hair, because I know that I left with braids. I had like really long braids, and they asked me how I was able to keep them up and like what happened to them. I forgot to mention that like around 2nd or 3rd week, I ended up having like 6 different people from my flight help me take them out, because number 1, it was super difficult for me to put my hair in a bun every morning. It took so long, and like my hair would fall out during the day, and I got like yelled at a couple times because my hair was like not in regs, because your bun is like not supposed to touch your collar. And because my braids were so long, they had no choice but to like be like, I had a big old bun on the back of my head, so like the bun was so big it would just always touch my collar. So I ended up taking them out. It took like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I had like 6 different people on my head. Like, it was crazy. It was great. And it was so funny to like have the white people in my flight like help me, because they're like, dang, like that's so cool, like I've never felt black people's hair before. And like there was this one time where and I knew there would be one, but when I did have my braids, there was one white girl that came up to me, and she just like kind of stuck her hands in my head and felt my braids. So there's always that one. I don't want to get into that, but now I know this next story has been pretty anticipated throughout this entire BMT Storytime series. 6th week is the week that you go through the gas chamber. This is probably one of my most memorable moments of BMT. Now, in the last video, I don't know if you guys remember, but I said that I had been sick, but I ended up getting better. I didn't get better until like after the gas chamber. So to put 2 and 2 together, I was sick. I was still sick during the time that we went to the gas chamber, okay? Well, they basically told us that going through the gas chamber would clear up your sinuses. It would clear up your sinuses, and if you're congested or if you're sick of some sort, like it'll clear all that up basically, because you're gonna be snotting and crying and coughing and all that kind of stuff. So great, you know, I was sick, I was ready. Mind you, like when I hear gas chamber, I'm thinking like Boy in the Striped Pajamas vibes, like the dark room and all kinds of, like I was picturing that. If you've never seen Boy in the Striped Pajamas, like just look up Boy in the Striped Pajamas gas chamber scene, and that's like what I was picturing this whole time. I thought it was gonna be a dark room. I thought I was about to die. Like those were my expectations. It was nothing like that. So they had all of the dorm chiefs and element leaders go first. For a minute, like nobody was allowed to talk in line when we were standing outside, and it was like dead silent for maybe like 20 seconds. And then all you hear is and they start dying. And I think that was the moment that like everybody got a little scared. I know I did. I was gonna be in this, I was like the second group to go up, so I was right after the dorm chiefs and element leaders group. So they have us all in our gear. We have our gas mask on, we have our gloves on, we have like the uniform on that's supposed to protect you from the gas from the minute we walk in the door. I would just remember walking in and I was already sweaty. Like I was sweating like crazy, because you will sweat a lot in that gear. But I remember I was sweating on my neck. And as soon as I walked in the room, because they had just like, they don't let the room air out before they let the next group go in. So I walked in and I just remember thinking like, dang, my neck is burning. Is this normal? I don't think this is normal. Luckily, I was in the front of the line, so when they have you walk in the room, they like line you up in order. I was one of the closest ones to the exit door. Dude, I'm like nervous talking about this because it feels like it was just yesterday that this happened. There's like a room with like a window, so it's like pretty bright in there. And then there's like this like fireplace thing, this like chimney thing. Like I don't even know what to call it, but that's basically where they put the gas. And like meanwhile my neck is burning still, but it's like a tolerable burn. And the instructors basically give us the rundown about what we're gonna do, and they're basically like, okay, on the count of 3 you're gonna loosen the straps on your gas mask, and you're gonna slowly take your mask off, say your reporting statement, which is sir, trainee, whatever your last name is, reports as ordered. And that was it. I'm like shaking because I'm like, I'm about to die. I am already sick. I am already congested. I have a terrible cough. Whoo! So he gives us the okay to go. And I loosened my straps. He was like, on the count of 3, take off your mask and say your reporting statement. And I thought it was gonna hit me like as soon as I took the mask off. Ooh, yo, I just got chills. So he goes 1, 2, 3, and I take my mask off, and I said, sir, trainee Thomas reports as ordered. I start convulsing. Like, it didn't hit me instantly. Like, I said my reporting statement and I like looked around for a couple seconds. Like I literally looked twice. I was like, sir, trainee Thomas reports as ordered. Bop, bop, dead. Like I just completely lost my ish. Like it was no freaking joke. It literally felt like somebody just took a thing of like paprika and red pepper flakes and freaking battery acid and just blew it down my throat. Like blew it in my face, down my throat. Like I was a mess. And because I had already been sick, I was the first one to start dying. Like no, it took everybody like 3 to 5 seconds to start coughing after me. I just remember it burned so bad that like I tried to run out, but I couldn't because they weren't gonna they weren't gonna open the door. Like we had to stay in there for like a couple seconds, and like I'm dying and I'm like, oh man, you know, like listen, my homegirl Wallace was good. She was right next to me and I just remember I was like grabbing onto her and I didn't realize I was doing it. Like I did not mean to like grab her, but I was like and I'm just like shaking. Oh my god, I was like shaking her so hard. As I'm sitting there dying and like coughing, the guy who still has his gas mask on, the instructor who just dropped the gas in there, he's just looking at me and he's just like, okay, it's okay. And I'm like it's so hard to describe because like I don't know what the normal experience was like because I was sick at the time of like doing the gas chamber, so I feel like my experience was 10 times worse, as it usually is in life. As we walk out, like that breeze, even though it was like 1,000 degrees outside, that breeze felt so freaking good. And it just like hits you in the face, and they tell you to like walk out with your arms up so you don't rub your eyes or anything. So you're walking out and like you can't see anything because the sun is bright. It is like burning your eyes, as well as the gas that's burning your eyes. So your eyes are just streaming, like just streaming tears. And then they make you walk through this like square thing a couple times. And like I was coughing the entire time because like I said, I had already had this cough for like the longest, so I was coughing so hard like I almost threw up again. It only lasted for like maybe like a minute and a half. But then after I finished and I was like packing up my stuff, my eyes are like bloodshot red and I'm just sitting there like putting my stuff in my bag like That was probably the worst experience of my life. Like, I feel like I should have earned an airman's coin and like graduated that day just for experiencing that and having to go through that. I was so ready for Beast after that. Oh, speaking of Beast, remember the last video when I said that I had been selected to be one of the Beast leaders? That some stuff popped off that I was like low-key like kind of pissed about? Yeah, well, here we are a week after that happened, and I just remember we were sitting in the day room and we were about to have like one of our night meetings or whatever before we went to bed. As I sat down, one of our other trainees informed me of some information that I feel like nobody would have told me had she not said anything. But basically I sat down and she just kind of sits next to me and she whispers and she's like, hey, trainee so-and-so and trainee so-and-so are gonna be the new Beast leaders. And I looked at her and I was like, new Beast leaders? What do you mean? She's like, yeah, they're replacing you and one of the other trainees that got selected with me. I just kind of sat there. I was like, replacing us? I'm so confused. Like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know. I just heard that they were in the office right now talking about it and they just replaced you and basically the other trainee that I was with. So I was like, okay. I was so pissed off and frustrated. Like, I went in the bathroom and cried. Like, before the meeting even happened, I went to the bathroom and cried. And I just didn't understand why. Like, for one, I was so excited to be a Beast leader. And for two, I was so confused because we had just had a conversation with our MTL that said that we were the perfect candidates for this position, and you know, we don't want anyone to be in this position unless they want to be in it, and you know, all the things like that. And to hear that I was replaced when I literally did nothing, I was confused. So I don't know if you guys recall me saying that my flight was one of the most hated flights. Well, it probably had to do with the fact that we had the most snitches in our flight, like the most like tattletale, like people who just were looking to get people in trouble. Like, that was probably the most annoying thing about my flight. And there had been some beef between two of our trainees. It was like one of our element leaders and another trainee, and this had been like an ongoing thing for a minute now. I ended up getting told that the element leader apparently went to our MTI and specifically told him that me and the trainee she had an issue with weren't great candidates to be Beast leaders. So instead of going around and making it a big deal, I went and asked my MTI myself. But he literally like verbatim told me that it was done for no reason, that I'm still a good trainee and that I shouldn't change who I am and all this other stuff, and that there was just a conflict between MTIs on the decision making. Because I don't know if I mentioned this, but our other MTI, the one that like stopped yelling, he was the one that pulled us into the office and made this decision and told us this. So when I'm getting to the other MTI, like our main MTI, he's the one who said that there was like a conflict between MTI. Like there was a conflict between them, which they had a lot of, because I guess they were new partners. This was the first time that they had ever worked together. So completely just like a BS excuse, and I still to this day don't know why. I was like, you know what, maybe this is for a reason. Maybe God is trying to, you know, shield me from some BS that's about to happen at Beast. I don't know. So I was kind of trying to be optimistic about the situation. Speaking of snitching, there was another situation with our brother flight because they ended up getting not a base liberty, but you'll get something called mini mall runs, which is just for you guys to go to the BX, get stuff that you need, and then come back. So you're not allowed to like go to Starbucks or get fast food or anything like that. So on this particular occasion, for some reason, I don't know why I didn't go on this mini mall run that day. I think I had like an EC shift or something, and I was scheduled to go the next day. But pretty much our brother flight ended up getting in trouble because their MTI found out that they were at Starbucks and using the payphones that are at the BX, which you're not supposed to do on mini mall runs. That's only for base liberties. So their MTI comes in storming into our dorm and is like, I want names, I want faces, I want everybody, you know, if you saw anyone on the phone or at Starbucks, like I want to know their names and this and that and blah blah blah. And we're just like, bro, we thought that y'all gave them a base lib. Like, what are you talking? I thought they had a lot of people thought they had a base liberty, so they weren't like paying it any mind. But you know, some people on our flight decided to give names of some of the people in our brother flight that were doing those activities. And after their MTI left, a couple of the other girls like had an issue with that, and they were like, why would you do that? Like, that's so lame, like that's so whack, why would you snitch? And the girls who snitched were like, integrity first, like I'm just trying to be honest and this and that. Like, it was crazy. Like I was just like, what the heck? I'm low-key glad I didn't end up going on that mini mall run, because look what happens. Oh, and speaking of snitching again, we had a lot of snitching scenarios in our flight. Like, if you haven't noticed, like, we were full of snitches. But during 6th week, we have our PT test. And a couple days later, our MTI pulls us in the day room, and he sits us down and he starts talking about how it had been brought to his attention that somebody had lied on their PT test. Like, said that they passed and gave fake numbers when they didn't. And mind you, actually our MTI didn't even pull us aside. He had another female MTI come in that was like intimidating or whatever. And he had her come in and be like, yeah, it has been brought to our attention that somebody lied on their PT test and blah, 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 blah. Does anyone have anything to say, or does anyone know anything about it? Now, of course, everybody had assumptions of like who could have possibly done it. But it turns out the way he found out, somebody in our flight wrote him a freaking note on like our class notebook paper, slid it under his office door, and was like naming names, like trainee so-and-so lied about their PT test. And the female MTI was going on this tangent about how she was security forces and how she's like done investigations or like intimidation, some crap. I don't even freaking know because I was not listening. But we were just sitting there like, who even has time to do this right now? Like, who hates somebody that much that they would like, and then they told us like, oh, you can't talk about this after we leave. So if nobody has anything to say, if nobody knows anything after this conversation, you know, you guys are not allowed to talk about it after the fact. Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know what flight this is? I still don't know to this day who wrote that note. But that was like some drama for your mama. Honestly, that whole situation, I was like, is this really what BMT is? Is this what we do? Like, I wonder if any other female flights go through this type of stuff. Like, if you guys are going to BMT, or if you've ever been through BMT and you have any stories like this, please let me know, because I would like to think that this can't be my only experience. Like, somebody else has to have gone through something like this. But you know, long story long, they never found out who wrote the note or who lied on their PT test. So nothing happened from this. Well, that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. We only have Beast Week to talk about, and you know, 8th week, the last week, graduation, all of that. If this video gets 50 likes, I will continue the series. If you haven't subscribed yet, I mean, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Like and share this video. I'm tired. I need to go drink a Red Bull. But I will see you guys in the next video.